It's the Michael Eric Dyson Show, and today we remember El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, more commonly known as Malcolm X, on the 85th anniversary of his birth. Now 45 years after his death, what significance can we attach to his name? Here to discuss the legacy of this still controversial and illuminating figure is Dr. Manning Marable, Columbia University professor and author of numerous books, including the forthcoming biography, Malcolm X, A Life of Reinvention. You know, in Malcolm X's autobiography, he says, basically, to paraphrase him, they won't let me turn the corner, the evolution that I'm undergoing. They referring to his, brothers and sisters within the Nation of Islam. So given that, and given the contradiction between his own evolution and growth and how he's been used, how did the community and the world respond to him while he was alive versus how he's remembered now? Because they saw him as a militant for the black community and black Muslims back in the 60s, but it seems that it's safer to discuss and analyze him now 45 years after his death. So
Right.
Share with us the contrast between those two periods.
Well, even in 1964-65, when he left the Nation of Islam, I believe that Malcolm was also referring to those former NOI members who had an expectation of Malcolm remaining a black nationalist, a separatist, as he was coming out of the NOI. But Malcolm, after his two travels to the Middle East and to Africa, in April, May 1964, and then the extended journey of 17 or 18 weeks from July until Thanksgiving of 1964, Malcolm returns as a Pan-Africanist, an internationalist. He focuses his analysis not on the United States as much as forcing open the question of U.S. racism being discussed and debated in international bodies such as the United Nations. His supporters, not in the NOI, but actually people who had left the nation with him, were upset because Malcolm seemed to be moving faster than they were prepared to go. But Malcolm, seeing models of revolutionary change in Africa, admiring what Nasser had accomplished in Egypt, visiting and meeting with the Palestine Liberation Organization representatives in September 1964, as I document in my forthcoming biography. Malcolm sympathized with revolutionary currents throughout the world. It's very clear that he met with and influenced the direction of Che Guevara, for example, that of Che's activities in Africa in 1965 were directly influenced, I believe, by Malcolm X, because if one looks at his itinerary and his intervention in the Congo, there's a direct correlation between where Che went and where Malcolm had gone in prior months. So
Right.
This Malcolm X was a man who was very difficult for many of his believers to follow. And during the very chaotic period of early 1965, there were three different groups of people that had a vested interest in silencing him. Law enforcement, the FBI, and the New York Police Department, the NYPD, of course. The elements within the Nation of Islam, there was not unanimity. There were different points of view, but the leadership out of Chicago wanted him dead.
Right.
And the third group of people were actually people in Malcolm's own entourage who were critical of some of the things Malcolm had done, especially Malcolm's more progressive position around advancing women in the leadership of the OAAU. He was heavily criticized by many males for this. So it's a complex story, in telling the whole story. But that Malcolm, what is true is that consistently Malcolm challenged himself, and he sought clarity and truth wherever it led. And unflinchingly, he would come to grips with that. And that's the kind of integrity of leadership you rarely find in any kind of politics.